What's up, guys? This is the Gospel According to Mark with a C. He is I, and I am he. Just taking some time to tell you exactly what's on my mind. Thank you for joining me once again, my friends. I hope all is well with you. Guys, we are going to dive into the latest attempt at trolling Disney Star Wars critics. Okay, the fans of Star Wars, the dedicated fans of Star Wars. We've been under attack now for years, and we keep having to deal with things like this. And I know it's unpleasant. A lot of you are tired of hearing about it, but unfortunately, there is a price to pay for constantly mislabeling Star Wars fans the way that they are. And we can't just ignore that part of this phenomenon, because by maligning us, it bleeds over into other concerns. It bleeds over into politics, as you know that I've been talking about. It bleeds over into the overall image of black people. You know, I talk about that a lot. It disillusions our children. So we can't allow things like this to continue to be said unchecked. I'm not saying that some of you don't have the right to just be tired of it and walk away from it and just throw your hands up and say, fuck them, let them do what they want to do. That's cool. But there are some of us who have to push back on this to some degree, okay? Because they don't get to control the narrative. And that's why they keep doing this, because they want to control the narrative. They want to get the last word. You know how you argue with people, that annoying person who, even though they've lost the argument, they don't want to concede anything, but they don't want to give up the last word, so they keep on saying this and saying that so they can frame it the way they want to frame it. That's the way our critics have been doing us now for years. I'm talking about critics of the fans, because what it is basically, it's not fans against fans. It's fans against these big billion-dollar studios. Now, they weaponize a certain degree of the fandom, you know, with their buzzwords and their triggers and things like that, so they come at us, so it looks like there's a civil war. But no, what it is they've weaponized these other people to believe that somehow we are each other's enemies, you know? That's the reason why I always tell people, no, like, don't go after them. Let them enjoy what they enjoy. If they enjoy the sequel trilogy, if they enjoy the Disney Plus shows, let them. Meanwhile, I have the right to talk about what I don't like about these things and how I don't like the way the studios come at us and disregard what we have to say. You know, all legitimate criticism is ignored in favor of this posturing that they're doing. And they don't even acknowledge the diverse voices and things like that they claim to value. We've talked about this a lot. So we have this article here on Collider.com, the latest trolling, and it's called Star Wars' Biggest Problem is the Fans. Star Wars' biggest problem is the fans. Now, guys, just roll back a minute, all right? I want you to feel me on this, right? And I've used this metaphor before, and I talked about how picture yourself going to a restaurant, right? You're trying this new restaurant. You've heard this restaurant has the most diverse staff ever. Like, it's the first of its kind in your particular town or city. It's got a huge, diverse cooking staff, management staff, all of this stuff. But ultimately, what you want is a good meal. So you go to this restaurant, you're expecting this good meal, and you're dissatisfied with it. The food is cold, you have all types of foreign objects in your meal, and you go to voice your concerns about this. You say, listen, this shit is cold, I don't like it, it doesn't taste good, the service is terrible, I was waiting here for over an hour. And they come back to you and say, oh, I see what's going on here. Because this is the most diverse restaurant in town. It's the first of its kind. It's got the most diverse, inclusive cooking staff, management staff. That's what your real problem is. Your problem is you're a bigot. And you're like, no, I said the food was cold. You see, I've been sitting here. Nope, you're a bigot. You shut your mouth. And then other people at other tables are looking, and they're like, yeah, you're a bigot. Why can't you shut up and let the rest of us enjoy it? I'm talking about my experience. I had a bad experience. Don't I have the right to say how I feel? But no! Racist! Sexist! You must have heard that our chef is gay. You're a homophobe! The biggest problem that this restaurant has is with its patrons. What? That's what you have here. You try this mentality with any other area of business, and you tell me how logical that sounds. Star Wars' biggest problem is the fans. Okay, all right. When the credits roll on every Star Wars project, You don't see my name on there. You don't see your name on there. You see a bunch of directors, writers, actors, costume design, all of those people. You pass by that to say the problem with dissatisfaction with what they sold us is you. You're the problem. I'm the problem. Nobody else who made this, no one who wrote it, no one directed it, no one who starred in it, nothing. It's you, the ones who actually paid money because you thought you were going to get something good. And when it turns out you're not satisfied with it, that's a you problem. That's a me problem. You see how dumb that sounds? But going on, right? The internet has never made it easy for people to speak their minds. Convenience of digital connection aside, there have always been online trolls and toxic comments ready to pounce on anyone who dares to bear their authentic self in public life. Well, that sounds like YouTube. They say that YouTubers are terrible, we're toxic, we're poison. YouTube, their tagline used to be, broadcast yourself. And you're talking about their authentic self in public life. So when I say how I feel, that's when I get the trolls. That's what this article is. You're trolling us, the public. So you sound crazy. In the newest round of controversies and unfounded criticisms, we'll get back to that in a minute. They state that like it's a fact. Unfounded criticisms directed at Star Wars projects demonstrates that the beloved sci-fi franchise is no different. For decades, viewers have been relentlessly attacking Star Wars performers and creators. For decades, viewers have been relentlessly attacking Star Wars performers or creators. There he is! There he is! There's John Boyega! He's down the block! Get him! Get him! And they're chasing after him. Nowhere to run to, baby! Nowhere to hide! It's like the Warriors. Come, Daisy Ridley, come out and play! With the renewed push against TV shows like The Acolyte, demonstrating the venom with which a particular set of audience members scrutinize everyone's favorite galaxy. The vitriol of these persistent voices has subsequently spread throughout the internet, making it feel impossible to say anything positive about Star Wars without turning every discussion into a heated debate. All right, now some of that might actually exist. You guys, you need to chill. All right, I've seen it with my own eyes. If someone is saying something positive, no matter how fucking stupid, about Star Wars, they love it. Oh, this is the best Star Wars ever. Oh, my heart melted. I'm gonna ship this character with that plant over there, no matter how stupid it is. Leave them alone. Go on, enjoy it. Go ahead, bro. Knock yourself out. You like it. I love it. You know what I mean? But, so okay. But, the other side of that, of course, is you can't be critical without someone coming at you, too, The unacceptable abuse that Star Wars prequel-era actors like Ahmed Best received from fans in the late 90s and early 2000s has been well documented. And since then, negative Star Wars voices have only been amplified by the mainstream spread of social media. All right, now we've already talked about Ahmed Best on this channel. I did the story where he was saying that he felt most of the pressure, because I'm not saying that people didn't have a problem with Jar Jar Binks. I did. When I watched it, I'm like, Issa, Husa, Yusa, what? You know what I mean? But the last thing I did was get on a computer to complain about it. I was just like, what the fuck, bruh? So I know that there were some people who were dissatisfied with Jar Jar Binks. But in that article that I read and did a long time ago, he was talking about the media backlash. Okay, that is what drove him to want to harm himself specifically. That part was well documented, so miss me with that as far as dumping on the fans about it. All right, so Leslie Headland's groundbreaking series has been relentlessly review bombed online, causing The Acolyte to possess a huge disparity between its positive critical reception and abysmal audience score on aggregate websites like Rotten Tomatoes. This started with The Last Jedi, guys. It goes both ways, okay? Because I remember in the run-up to The Last Jedi, I was looking forward to it. We were going to see Luke Skywalker. The trailer looked provocative. And then when the movie dropped, it almost got a damn near 100%. They said this was the best Star Wars movie ever. I went in, and to say that I left that movie theater enraged would be a gross understatement. So I'm not saying that everybody had to believe that this was a pile of shit like I did, but where's the middle ground? Why did you have to tell me that this was the best, bar none, Star Wars movie ever in creation? And then when you get there and you see it, the plot holes are so freaking obvious that the fix had to be in. And that's where the problem came in, because it was either the best thing ever or it was not so good. And when they said it was not so good, they were like, you must be crazy. It's the best thing ever. I realized then you couldn't trust websites like the Rotten Tomatoes, because I felt like I was robbed out of my money. Okay, so there was that. Since the majority of these hate-filled criticisms are either overreactions to alleged continuity errors within the Star Wars universe or backlash aimed at attacking the show's long overdue inclusivity, the bad actors spreading them are clearly spinning controversy out of nothing. Once again, out of nothing. Okay, guys, the funny thing about that, right, is that if you're a Star Wars fan and you rightfully point out that Obi-Wan Kenobi and Darth Vader should not have met between the end of episode 3 and the beginning of episode 4, that's not spinning controversy out of nothing. That's a major continuity error. That's something that should be pointed out. So when they tell you that you shouldn't point it out, that's when you realize that they're full of shit. All right, but they do this because they want to try to push this idea that any criticism of Star Wars, the Disney era, is based in hatred. It's based in bigotry and homophobia and all of that stuff. Because all they're trying to do is create inclusivity. Meanwhile, let me just point something else out here. Because, okay, we're establishing, this article says that the problem is the fans, right? So I read this other article back in January, right? I did a video about this. And it says, this was on Variety.com, January 2nd, 2024. Major studios pledged to hire more female filmmakers and people of color were performative, a study finds. Right now, they're talking about, let's see, it was the findings of the USC Annenberg's Inclusion Initiative. Right now, you might be wondering, what is the university or the USC Annenberg Inclusion Initiative? Is the leading think tank in the world, the leading think tank in the world on the planet, studying diversity and inclusion in entertainment through original research and sponsored projects. Now, according to them, Disney and Hollywood, they're full of shit. Right? They're not putting their money where their mouth is. This is the #1 think tank in the world that has nothing to do with the fans. It has nothing to do with hatred. They say that everything that they're trying to do, all of the outward virtue signaling and all of that, it's performative. They're not putting their money where their mouth where their mouth is. And of course, a couple of weeks ago, I also did the story regarding Amanda Stenberg, and I was talking about how Disney also got called out for not doing what they're supposed to do as well. In other words, there's a pay disparity between male and female performers, right? And actors and hirees that Disney is doing. So I talked about that on video as well. Disney forced to reveal unequal pay on Star Wars show The Acolyte. And this was on Forbes.com, January 23rd, 2024. So they say documents were filed by Disney, and it's revealed that its latest Star Wars spinoff, The Acolyte, isn't a force for equality, despite famously featuring a female-centric cast. So no matter what face you put on it, these people are not doing the things that they say that they set out to do. They're hypocrites. And what that suggests to me is that they're just putting these things out there to deflect from the very real concerns of fans like you and I, that they're not doing what they're supposed to do in service of the Star Wars saga, in service of making this something that is satisfactory, that is fulfilling for people who have been with this thing forever. No matter what they say, all the evidence is on the table. Even John Boyega, in his September 2020 interview with GQ, and this was on Observer.com that I'm reading from, he pulled no punches when describing his time in Disney's galaxy far, far away. This is John Boyega, right? You talk about, oh, they objected to Finn because he was black. John Boyega The Star Wars star criticized the franchise's handling of non-white characters, saying they had been pushed to the side in 2017's The Last Jedi and 2019's The Rise of Skywalker. Going even further, he said all the nuance was reserved for characters played by Daisy Ridley and Adam Driver, while development for characters played by Boyega, Oscar Isaac, Kelly Marie Tran, and Naomi Ackie stalled out. He said that he had a transparent, honest phone conversation with Lucasfilm president, Star Wars producer Kathleen Kennedy about this, all right? This is what John Boyega said, the one who got his face and image and likeness shrunk down on the Star Wars poster for the Chinese market. They didn't stand by him. They don't stand by any of us. That's the point. That's the reason why they don't want to hear from people like me. I'm a major inconvenience. They want to ignore me, but I'm not going to go away. I'm going to continue to say the things that I'm saying because you're a fraud, you're a fake, you're a phony, you're full of shit. Disney, you don't care about black people. You don't care about black men, black women, black children who are looking up to these characters. Disney, you don't. That's the reason why you won't recast T'Challa. That's the reason why you will drive Blade into the ground. You don't give a fuck about black people. You don't give a fuck about diversity or inclusion. All of the evidence is on the table. Now it's time for you to face the legitimate criticism of what you did with Star Wars. You did a reunion movie and your dumbasses didn't do a reunion. That was the first thing you did that was wrong. The first criticism that you ignored. You got Harrison Ford, Mark Hamill, and Carrie Fisher back together, and you didn't get Luke Skywalker, Han Solo, and Princess Leia back together for all time. That opportunity is gone. You blew it. Any idiot who makes these movies knows that when you do a reunion movie of beloved characters, I just got through watching Beverly Hills Cop, Axel Foley. They got back together, Eddie Murphy, Judge Reinhold, and the other guy. They know this is what people want to see, but you didn't do that shit. Luke Skywalker died. Han Solo died. Princess Leia died. You had Rey tapping into the Force, knowing how to use the Force. What is it? The Force suggestion. God, man. See, this is what happens when you get in front of the camera. You forget things that you should know. You know what I mean? Force mind trick. She knew how to do the Force mind trick without any training. Okay, she was Rey Nobody, then she was Rey Somebody, and then she was Rey Skywalker, and nobody had the right to say anything about that. You guys came up with Snoke. You wanted us to be wondering about this character. Gone. All right, Kylo Ren killed Han Solo. A terrible thing to do to a legacy character that has been beloved for decades. But then you want to turn around and sell him as a sympathetic character after that? No, none of this is a legitimate criticism of what you're doing. And then when you realize that your sequel trilogy was a hot steaming pile of shit, then you take the one property that had potential that you put on Disney Plus, The Mandalorian, and you fuck that up to try to clean up what you did with the sequel trilogy. And that continues to this day. Everything you come out with, whether it's Boba Fett or the Book of Boba Fett, whether it's Ahsoka, whether it's Andor, whether it's the Acolyte, everything that you do is one giant pooper scooper for that fucking sequel trilogy. But nobody has the right to speak on that. Otherwise, you're a bigot, you're racist, you're homophobe. Talk to yourself. Look at yourself in the mirror. Why don't you pay your female employees the same thing that you pay your male employees? Why don't you talk to John Boyega about why he feels about what you did to his character? Why don't you do any of that shit? No, you'd rather not. You'd rather get in front of the fans talking about they're the problem. We're not the ones getting the billion-dollar paychecks. We're just the ones who are supplying you with the money that you can overpay Bob Iger, that you can overpay Kathleen Kennedy and Ryan Johnson and J.J. Abrams and Leslie Headland and Pablo Hidalgo and just about everybody else you can name. That's what you do. But then you got the nerve to turn around and talk to me who works something like fucking 12 hours a day? Over 60 hours a week. I'm the problem. The fans, I'm the one. We're the ones. We're the ones who went to The Force Awakens and paid the billions of dollars. Not because, and we fucking knew that it had a female protagonist. We knew that it had a black, we saw the trailer. We came back for The Last Jedi. We paid out more money, even more money. We wanted to believe. But the whole way, You insulted us. If you got a problem with any part of this, the problem is you. If you got a problem with any of the Disney Plus shows, the problem is you. You're the problem. Don't you believe that? And then they go to the other fans who are weak of mind. And then you come into my comment section. You come onto my Twitter page. And you want to talk about, you're a bigot. You're racist. You're a token. Okay, listen. Time will reveal everything that we're talking about. You know why? Because as long as it's been in existence, there's been this saying, the customer is always right. The customer. The customer happens to be, in this case, the fans. The fans are always right. You know why the fans are always right? Because we're the ones who pay the money. You can't make these movies without the money that we're paying you. You can't sell the merchandise without the money that we're paying you. So no matter what the fuck you say, Collider, no matter what the fuck you say, Disney Lucasfilm, no matter what the fuck you say, Kathleen Kennedy, we're the ones who hold all the power. And at the end of the day, we're the ones who are going to get the last word. Such as what I'm doing right now. All right, guys. That's it. I am going to wrap this up. You can get in the comment section and let me know how you feel about all of this. As usual, you can like, you can share, you can subscribe. Thank you guys for your support. I really, really do appreciate everybody who's been saying all of these great words to me over the last couple of videos in the comment sections I've been reading. Thank you. Thank you. I really do appreciate it. You can hit that super thanks if you so are moved. And I will catch you on the next one. This is The Gospel According to Mark with a C. Rock on.